because this is New York City public land. This is free land. And if there is a cost associated to this land, it's a very low cost. There is no reason, with all of the determinants that we had happening in our community and in the city of New York, with homelessness and housing, that the City of New York Economic Development Corporation would even suggest to the Crown Heights community a configuration of this project that has all of this luxury housing. It makes no sense.
Fight, fight, fight! Housing is a right! Fight, fight, fight! Housing is a right! Fight, fight, fight! Housing is a right! You got another one?
Sorry. Oh, no, that's yours.
You don't want that for you?
Come on.
All four of my grandparents are from Brooklyn, but I'm from Jersey.
Jersey?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you rock. Jersey rock. One gentrifiers from Portland.
That's true. I'm not from Portland.
How all of them from Portland? That's the shit that's getting me.
You know, that's a fair question.
What's happening here? When we look around, our neighbors look different. We don't mind having different neighbors. But we don't want to be pushed out of our neighborhood. Do you want to be pushed out of your neighborhood? No. Do you want to be pushed out of your neighborhood? No. Well, this project is one to push us out. Do you believe that? Yes. Gentrification is alive and well. And we want to tell our representatives, first of all, to vote no. What do we want? No. Again, let me hear it.
No. BFC Partners is a developer who has been selected by the City of New York to develop the Bedford Union Armory located on Union Street and Bedford Avenue. Currently, the project that they are presenting displaces community residents. Today, we stand here to say, hey, hey, ho, ho, BFC has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, what? BFC has got to go.
I mean, I think that I get frustrated when I see the city sort of selling off public assets for a one-time bonus. And I know that, you know, we're going through tough times. We've got, you know, the highest population of homeless people, you know, ever. And it is, you know, the city is going through difficult times, but I see, you know, selling off public resources and public assets as, you know, a one-time fix that is going to cause more problems later on down the line, and also end up being more expensive. I generally, you know, from agency to agency, whenever there are certain functions that are privatized and taken out of, you know, the purview of the city, what we see is an initial drop in the cost of providing that service, but then, you know, even within a couple of years, like massively increase the cost of providing that service, whatever it might be.
Thank you. My name is John Valadares, and I'm the project manager for the redevelopment of the Bedford Union Armory. I'm here today to present a general overview of the proposed project, including a description of the development team, a summary of the proposed development, and then I'll introduce our engineer, Kovic Saxana, from Sam Schwartz Company, who is overseeing the environmental review on our behalf. There are three main components to our proposed project, which I will discuss in greater detail, but those are the recreation facility, community and educational space, housing, and in particular, affordable housing. The proposed mixed income housing, which is the largest component of the project, is the housing and in particular the affordable rental component. The total rental building will deliver 330 units with 50% set aside as affordable units. Included in these units are the proposed 30% set aside for the mandatory inclusionary housing. AMI, or area median income levels, will range from 40 to 110%. Overall income restricted rents will range from $580 a month for a studio to approximately $2,519 for a 3-bedroom at 110% of the area median income. There is also the condominium component, which will total 56 units. 20% of the units will be set aside as income restricted units to families in the 120% of area median income bracket. There will be a mix of studios, 1s, 2s, and 3-bedroom apartments.
There's stables, there's the drill hall is amazing, it's immense. There's so much stuff that you could put in there.
Right.
And yet they've been telling us that, or what BFC said on Monday was that they have to turn those into condos. Before it was townhouses, now it's condos, in order to subsidize the cost of building and running the rec center.
It's something that is sold as something that will be beneficial to the neighborhood, but it actually won't be beneficial to the folks that have kept this neighborhood alive for a couple of generations.
We'll go into greater detail.
Listen to me.
Us making noise is not going to stop this project.
Yeah, let them talk. Listen ain't gonna make you stop either.
Us taking time to hear what they say, so that we can defeat it by pointing out the dangerousness of it. Give us a chance. Making noise to the mayor, to the governor, to make a difference. Let them present what they want to say. Take in what they have to say. But take it in so you can tear it apart. Once you understand what it is, everybody understand what it is? Everybody understand? Well, let's go through these 3 minutes. Listen to what they're saying so that you know how to defeat it. Everybody understand?
Okay, everybody chill pill. Take a chill pill. Okay, John. Take a chill pill on your mouth.
The company in itself is an affordable housing developer. We don't develop armories only, and we don't really do rec centers per se. We have been an affordable housing developer for 30 years. That's what we do. So there's been pushback about the level of affordability and the amount of affordability versus market rate, with this concept that we're a market rate developer, and really that's what we're after. We're not afraid to do affordable housing. There were constraints on this project because of the rec center, because of other components that we're bringing to the table that were a challenge. The level of subsidy or lack of subsidy that the city was providing in this deal also didn't allow for an increase in affordable housing or lower bands of the affordability. So I think, one, I'd like to get out that affordable housing is not something that we're opposed to. That's how this company has grown over the last 30 years. And two, that on the Armory side, we're challenged by delivering this rec center, delivering this community facility center with no city subsidy. If there was city subsidy, which is typically what you have in an affordable housing deal, we would be able to provide more affordable housing and lower affordability rates.
Hello, Brooklyn in the house! We want to make sure we do not need 58 $1 million condos on the President Street side of the Bedford Union Armory.
That's right.
That is not what we want.
And we ain't done it.
330 apartments, only 18 will be truly affordable for Crown Heights. That is unacceptable.
That's right.
Especially when you have a homeless shelter right around the corner.
Ain't that something?
I knew that the developers were looking at this community like they were just salivating at getting in here, and the administration is looking at our neighborhood like an ATM machine, and they partner up with the developers and let the developers drive what happens here, and they don't listen to the community. And so I knew that we needed to fight back, and that was the same message that I put out in 2013, and I put it out again today.
A lot of times things happen in the community and people don't understand how it started up. A lot of people don't know about the ULURP process and that it has time periods assigned to it. That you have to get certain parts of it and sections of it done within a certain period of time. And a lot of it is in the hands of public officials. For example, your city council person plays a huge role in whether or not you get something you don't want in your neighborhood.
My name is Lori Cumbo. I'm a New York City Council member representing the 35th Council District, which includes Fort Greene, Clinton Hill, Prospect Heights, Crown Heights, and parts of Bedford-Stuyvesant. Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, in the East Flatbush section of Brooklyn, and I'm a 4 generations a Brooklynite.
Lori Cumbo!
Just say no!
Lori Cumbo!
Just say no!
Lori Cumbo!
Just say no!
We can see your greedy side!
Lori Cumbo, you can't hide. We can see your greedy side.
Who are you thinking to vote for in this upcoming city council election?
I don't know who I'm voting for as yet, but I'm not voting for Lori Cumbo.
Why not?
Because as I understand it, she's not for us.
Do you think that this Bedford Union Armory right here has something to do with that?
Yes, I think so. I believe she is one of the people who's selling us out in terms of the armory.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe that.
Yeah.
And I've lived here for 34 years, and I know what's happening based on what I've heard. I'm not voting for her, and I'm encouraging people not to vote for her.
What have you heard about this armory project?
Well, what I understand is that they're going to build some condos or something like that, but affordable housing is not in it in terms of, it's only something they're saying, but it's not happening. I know it's not happening. They're going to build affordable housing and tell me I got to be making $60,000 to get an apartment? That's not going to work. And that's how I feel about it. Yeah.
You know, the condos are supposed to be right here on this side, actually, along, like these are all, I'm pretty sure that this is exactly where they're meant to be.
Yes, and if they're meant to be here, what's going to happen to us on the other side?
Because you live right across the street?
Right across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said you lived here for 34 years?
34 years. Yeah.
And do you think it'll increase rents to have luxury condos across the street?
Yes, eventually they'll want everyone to move. Some of us are rent control, and they'll eventually ask some of us to leave, or buy us out, or whatever the hell they want to do.
Yeah.
You know? So we're looking forward to that. But I wouldn't vote for her, because I understand that she is on their side and not our side.
And she basically said everything except kill the deal, and I think that's significant because she knows that's ultimately the demand. But everything else, she mirrored our demand. So she talked about community land trust. She talked about some of the things that like we've not heard her talk about, like no luxury condominiums, things that she never said. So I mean, to some degree, it's a win because we're getting through, obviously.
Right.
But it is an election year. She doesn't have to until 2 seconds before the ULURP process is over at midnight on whatever day it's over, she can sign off on it.
The biggest issue for me with the current proposal, and it has always been, the 58 luxury condominiums. So there are 58 luxury condominiums that would probably begin to sell at about $800,000 and above. That is not a price range that the immediate community of Crown Heights can afford. And so it's problematic in the sense that it's not affordable to the community, one, and then number two, the other aspect of it is it's a sale of city-owned property that is ultimately a deal breaker. And this is something that I've negotiated and tried to negotiate to have that removed. But right before it going through the ULURP process, that aspect of the project remained. And it's problematic for me to have luxury condominiums as an economic revenue source on property that's city-owned. It's just a deal breaker. It's not something that we can go forward with. It's beyond problematic. It's one of those things where it's detrimental to the viability of the community to sell off city-owned property in order to have a recreational center and not-for-profit space at affordable cost, because those things ultimately will gentrify the community. And if we have luxury condominiums and we're moving people in with a higher income bracket, it begins to change the community, the culture, and the entire dynamic of the neighborhood.
All right, listen, we want some things out here, right? We got a common interest. We want affordable housing, and then we want what? Union jobs. You heard me? Yeah. What do we want? Affordable housing. What do we want? Union jobs. What do we want? Affordable housing. What do we want? Union jobs. What do we want? Affordable housing. What do we want? Union jobs. What do we want? Affordable housing. What do we want? Union jobs. What do we want? Affordable housing. What do we want? Union jobs. What do we want? Affordable housing. What do we want? Union jobs. What do we want? Affordable housing.
Just being from this neighborhood, I teach in Bedford-Stuyvesant, and just in the line of education of the work that I do, I can see clearly what gentrification does to a lot of our neighborhoods. And I think gentrification is beautiful. For like, we have a Starbucks on Eastern Parkway that's never been there before ever. I think in terms of building up the community, I think it's a beautiful thing. And having our children have access to different quality of restaurants and bookstores, I think that that's awesome. But I think when it comes to housing and the fact that so many people that are from these neighborhoods can no longer afford to live here, it's very, very unfortunate. And I do not think that that is something that should be acceptable.
So Bedford Union Armory is definitely about gentrification. It's definitely about affordable housing. What else is it about to you guys?
But it's not really affordable housing, because they said, I was looking at it, they said the average median for house income is about like $60,000 for those new affordable housing coming in.
Yeah.
The average median for the people living around this area is not $60,000. So in all actuality, we're not going to be eligible for those new apartments.
When I look at it and I think the people who are constructing this housing can't afford to live here, then, you know, then our priorities are like completely backwards. I mean, who is this helping? Constructing affordable housing that working people can't afford is, you know, it's backwards. I mean, we're just accelerating a problem, not dealing with it.
Before we move forward and we're trying to engage Councilmember Cumbo in affordable housing, let's be unified. Let's be unified in the definition. Yeah. Because there's a term I heard at the board meeting last week, and it was called workforce affordable. And I like that term. And the reason I like it is that when we go workforce affordable, that means those of us who work can't afford it. The salary that we're looking at now that HUD has identified, that's not affordable for $40,000 to $45,000. First, let's come together with the definition affordable. So when we talk to her, it's our definition and her definition are the same. Secondly, all of you know, because you've just been told that I represent Ebbets Field. It is, when you look at me, look at approximately 6,000 people. That is Ebbets Field. It is not just me. And while you're doing that, it has come to my attention over recent days that out of that 6,000, 1,600 were evicted. Okay, but I understand the boo and I can appreciate it. But if you're homeless, boo is so underrated. You understand? So when we go to the council member and we talk about let's make the Armory affordable, first, define affordable. And let's be unified on that definition, and let's educate her to the definition that we're talking about. And it is workforce, affordable.
That's right.
Because it's for those of us who fall out of our beds every morning and we go to work, whether it's in McDonald's or whether it's in Midtown.
That's right, man.
We are trying to afford a roof over our heads.
That's right.
So let's keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
The bandwidth to call something affordable is great. A lot of things can be called affordable that are not really affordable. Like the AMIs go up to, I believe, 165.
I had no idea. 165% of AMI
can be considered affordable. So there's a lot of wiggle room there to call something affordable. It rarely goes to that place, but it's something that we need to look at in terms of that 200,000 units of affordable housing. We need to really look at what we constitute as qualifying to be a part of that program, or that goal rather.
So something I've been really preoccupied with looking at this over the last 6-7 months is the flexibility of the term affordable. And do you think that one of the core issues that the Bedford Union Armory illuminates is the problem with how the area median income is applied?
Yeah, it's a hot mess how the AMI is applied. I mean, it's, first of all, it's not even bad that they're averaging all the incomes of. Oh my God, it's awake. The Bedford Union Armory is awake.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Hey, sorry.
We'll close it right away.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry.
No, man, no problem.
You guys are quick.
Yeah. You guys doing more environmental impact statement? Or?
Actually, we were fixing something called
The steam system.
No.
What?
we fixed it.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, watch out for the asbestos.
We're making it condo.
You better not.
Make it all condo.
What
No.
do you think about it becoming a condo?
I'm going to make money on it.
You think so?
City of New York. I mean, I think it's a great coalition we got going here. We have people that are hyperly focused on, whether it's laborers focused on just making sure they have union jobs there, to the others interested in preserving their communities, to DSA, which is, focusing on this local issue, but within the broader aspect of trying to fundamentally transform the economy. So we have, maybe different larger goals, but we all agree on this one issue, and we're all working together to make sure that we have a project here that is truly affordable to the community and actually serves what we need. And I think everyone's working together great. I see some beautiful things. I'm happy I go out and I see Skip from NYCC. I love seeing Beverly out from Edwards Field. I mean, I love seeing them all at these. I hate being at I get the fact that I have to go to these protests, but I do enjoy seeing I consider my comrades now.
I still think we're not educating the populace as well as we need to, and I think we do need to get that out to every organization. I think we need some continuity of what we hand out, what we say, and so on, because this is not the battle of the different organizations, this is the battle of the community. And the community has to be the ones that's going to make this happen. New York Communities for Change, Vocal, and others can say as much as they want. They can threaten Lori as much as they want. But that's not going to be like 1,000 people from the community saying, listen, you so-and-so, I ain't voting for you. in any way, shape, or form. You know, unless you do something different, unless you change, unless you stop this deal, you're out. That has a lot more weight than anything that we've done, you know, to this point.
So it sounds like, though, we all think here that protests are a good thing going on for this, that it's worth protesting.
But what is worth protesting, but nothing, your voice barely getting heard. But, you know.
We marching and sing Kumbaya and protesting and all that. What's the result? They still build it, or they stop building it?
They still build it.
So why would I go out there and get into an argument, fight, water holes, bitten by dogs and all that, and they still gonna put it up?
Get pepper spray.
They're gonna lock us up. They're gonna do all type of stuff. They might kill a few of us. But when is the protest? That's what I want to know.
When are the protests? So you guys feel like you haven't been getting information about when the protests are happening?
That's my first time hearing about this.
We not stopping nothing. They don't want to hear us.
But answer this.
If you want,
it's my first time hearing about a protest over armory.
Well, I do think that that's kind of a big issue, is that I find out because I got onto a few different email lists that email about it. I got onto the Crown Heights Tenant Union email list. Yeah, there's a big tenant union who actually...
They keep that to themselves. They don't tell us about that.
Some of us black people, some of us black people, we can't protest.
It's out here,
right? You see, the moment we try to protest, we lose our job.
Tired, man.
Families located, relocated, we lose mad stuff.
You don't put every battle you can,
So we just focus on job, rent,
take care of your family,
try to survive.
That's it. That's what it is.
And we barely survive it. We barely be like head above water.
Mostly, ma'am, when we find out something in the community, it's already planned and already done.
You guys setting up a hammock? Yeah! So have you heard about the protests going on around this building?
I hear a lot of things about it, but never thought it to come to our work. I go in the morning and come late in the night.
Yeah, it's hard to work and protest, right?
Yeah, so you gotta make the money or you go against the money.
Yeah.
Going against the money, you can't pay the bills. So you gotta go for the money.
There is, I wish there were more people from right on the block coming to these, but there is a general sense of apathy. I think nationwide, this even a Crown Heights thing. I mean, it's just a sense of a lot of people feeling they can't actually influence their government, and a lot of people have given up. They're not voting. They're not coming out to protest. They feel like politics doesn't matter. They just go to work. They wake up, they go to work, they come home, they just try and get what little slice of the pie they can. And what's been great, I think, is that we're out here and we're loud and we're protesting and we're getting attention. We're passing out. We're not just marching and passing out. Marching and shouting. We're passing out flyers. We're talking to people in the community. We've been DC's been knocking on doors at apartments all throughout the neighborhood, telling people about the deal, activating, letting them know. Some people said they knew about it. They didn't know they was fighting against it. We held a visioning session a couple weeks ago of what the deal was, what was going with the deal, and what it could be instead. And people came from the Tivoli Towers and were really impressed with what was going on.
Protests in the neighborhood is for the people in the neighborhood. Then you have outsiders come, and the outsiders are like rabble-rousers. They're there just to create the problem or make the problem even bigger instead of having a solution. If you're going to have a protest and you have a solution to it and there's a positive effect, that's what protest is supposed to be. Not all the noise and the shouting and everything and no results.
This huge lot of land that could provide a great service for the local community, and selling it off for a minute amount of affordable housing that is only going to be affordable for a defined period of time. We're not even creating permanent affordability, because the problem with, these for-profit developers is that they're not mission-based. So they'll provide the affordable housing for whatever the time frame is, but after that, who knows what they might do.
A lot of city land. They're giving city land away to developers, profit developers, or don't.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at, picture the homeless gaining ground, proposal for housing. City land would be used to create community trusts, which would keep that property much more affordable and income targeted than this plan of the mayor.
Whose land? Our land! 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 Whose land? Our land!
As you know, land trusts can be created and developed so that the land remains basically free, or the communities on perpetuity, okay? Forever. So that you can't turn around and start charging luxury prices for apartments on land trusts. And you don't give just 15 apartments when you have land trusts. All those apartments should be affordable for that community. And if the people are making $15,000 a year, $20,000 a year, whatever, there should be a home, an apartment, maybe even itty bitty condos for them.
Absolutely.
Right. Forever.
So, if you control it, can't you have the sports complex?
Yes.
If you own it, can't you have lower rents for your nonprofits?
Yes.
If you own it, can't you decide what the rents are going to be, and so you can live there too?
Yes.
All right. Isn't that a much better deal than this piece of crap that they're offering?
Yes.
All right. So, why would we vote for something that offers almost nothing, makes your rents go up, gentrifies your neighborhoods faster, and helps make this billionaire even richer? Why would we want that?
We want.
He gets richer and you get pushed out of your neighborhood.
Yeah, I believe my organization feels that, and I've mentioned it to some of our leaders, some of our staff members, that this should be, and I hope we will take it on as such, that this should be an example for all communities within the city. And all communities have been beaten down and trodden over by developers, and in particular BFC. BFC has probably dozens of properties that they've managed over the years that they've wound up taking advantage of both the city and the community. And so this is their history. This is not something that we're just saying so that we can help win this project for the community. Their history says that they should not be the ones doing this project. Now, to that end, I try to make people in the community understand that feel like maybe the community can't do this project. Well, the community, if it's a land trust, the community runs it and owns it. If they want to, they can hire BFC to manage the project and hire whoever they want. We can find somebody that can make this thing viable if we can't do it ourselves. So it's not like we're going to do it, run it to the ground, and it'll go away. This will be a viable, wonderful project that will benefit the community, and we can assure that. There's no question that we can assure that happens. With BFC, it'll be for very wealthy folks, and some of the things that we want won't happen, and we won't be there to enjoy it anyway.
I'd like to see the project stopped completely. Then what I would like to see is the person they elected having several, not just one big meeting, and then if somebody misses it, you say, oh, you didn't make it to the meeting. Several meetings in different spots of the community. We're looking at this area to develop it. What would you like to see, or how would you like to see the area developed? Let's do a 197A plan and make a decision about how we would like to see the area grow and what we would like to see placed in the area. A 197A plan is basically a community-driven plan for their area. It's not people dropping in saying, oh, that looks like a nice little armory, and that little piece of land behind it, we could put a 30-story building and do a little something for the armory and blah, blah, blah. And they're so stupid, they won't realize we're gentrifying the area because we're going to tell them we're going to give them the armory, we're going to refix it for them so that the community can come in there and play. But meanwhile, we're going to be making a whole ton of money off of this building. That's 30, you know, you don't have that.
Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that?
The beauty of the 197A plan, too, is that it helps develop leaders in your community so that people have the ability to later on go and run for some of these positions in the community, which is important because then you have people who have come from the ground in the community, have gone up, and can then do things for the community that they know.
I mean, I don't think that there's a way to rework it now. The RFP would have to be pulled or the whole thing voted down and then it begun again from scratch.
To even make more of the units affordable, we would have to essentially scratch the whole deal and start over again.
Yeah.
And to define affordability in a different way than the way that it's currently defined.
Well, I don't have a problem with, the numbers that are used. It just means that we need to provide, X number of units at 10% of AMI, at 20% of AMI, at 30% of AMI. I don't think, the AMI is just a number. So, it's what matters is what housing we're creating at whatever percentage of AMI. So, we just need to go to deeper levels of affordability, which costs more. It costs more.
I, as the city council member, do not have the power and the ability to reissue or issue another RFP. That power lies solely in the hands of the mayor. If we vote down this project, it would be in the jurisdiction of the mayor to determine if he would reissue another RFP for this project. He may do that, he may not do that. It's a gamble.
From the last meeting with BFC community meeting, one question was asked how much they were going to make, and it was $100 million a year. Now that's a staggering amount of money, but that's profit, Now I think we could probably do pretty good with a project if we're not trying to pull out $100 million. We probably could get a decent project that's going to be fairly decent. Just trying to look at the amounts of money. So we're not saying that we want this and we're going to cart this stuff home. We saying that so if we could probably do a project where $25 million could be in profit, which still will allow us to do a lot of great stuff there. And we don't need to put money in somebody's pocket who doesn't live in the neighborhood and is going to take that money somewhere else.
I will not vote in support of a project that, number one, has any luxury condominiums as part of it. There can be no sale of the Bedford Union Armory project. Any aspects or any discussions or one luxury condominium is one luxury condominium too many for me. And so I would unequivocally vote down a project that had any luxury condominiums as part of the economic model of how to sustain the Bedford Union Armory project. I would not settle for 16 units of low-income housing. Hundreds, and I mean hundreds as in with an S, hundreds of units of low-income housing would have to be brought forward. Not affordable, low-income housing.
I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I really do think that we have to think deeply about what it means for us to be a sanctuary city in a fascist state, and that is something that we have to actually really think about. if we do have massive cuts to the various programs. I mean, even if, the housing stuff doesn't get cut, if all of the SNAP and other healthcare stuff gets cut, we're going to have to shift money over to deal with that. So it means, less money for everything. So I think we do have to sort of buckle down and prepare for that. I don't work for the mayor. I don't know what kind of, maybe there's a bunch of economists that are, busily thinking about, how we're going to fund these things, or maybe not. I don't know. So, but this budget coming up will reflect whether we are diligently preparing, or if we're being profligate with what little money we got. I don't know.
I don't know, man. All I know is this. They doing everything they can to push us out. And that's it. This is like really the bottom line. And we just got to get better at surviving. So what we got to do is get better at surviving, which is always going to be all right because the universe protects us. You know what I'm saying?
Well, thank you again. What's your name?
My name is Wise.
Wise? Really a pleasure. Ursula.
Who?
Ursula.
Ursula. So what are you going to name of the project?
I don't know. How about that barbecue?
You ready for it?
I'm ready.
I just saw somebody that looked like you. You just here. You ready?
Please, I would love some.